I've been married to Leo for 11 years. We have a 6-year-old son. Everyone says we're the perfect couple. No matter how busy Leo is at work, he never neglects his family. He gives me massages, experiments with weird online recipes. He skips meetings to attend our son's school open day. He remembers our wedding anniversary, my birthday. He remembers my preferences. And when I'm upset, he'll coax me tirelessly. But just now, after coming home tipsy from a business dinner, flopping into bed and slurring kiss me. Baby. I saw a message from his secretary. Baby, did you get home safe? Chapter 1. I froze. It took me a long while to react. Leo was already fast asleep. I picked up his phone. A WeChat alt account popped up, only one contact. A girl nicknamed Kitten. The profile picture was identical to the one on his main account. Nicole, his secretary. I remembered who she was the last time I visited Leo's office. She greeted me sweetly, calling me Olivia Gia, asking me to buy her bubble tea, saying Leo worked her too hard. I felt guilty. I knew how serious Leo was about his company. He poured his heart into it, and tolerated no mistakes. I remembered how he scolded Nicole, act professionally during work hours. Nicole just stuck her tongue out playfully, not the least bit afraid of her strict boss. I thought it was just youthful energy. I never imagined it was special indulgence from Leo. Afterward, Leo asked me, should I hire a different one? Why? I asked. He rested his chin on my shoulder, rubbing against my neck like a child, afraid my little jealous wife would get upset. I was embarrassed and annoyed, snapping, I'm not jealous. Leo laughed. Right. My wife is the most generous, most understanding woman in the world. He swore. Nicole's really competent. I want to mentor her. And besides, having a young and pretty secretary looks good for the company. He took my hand. You have to believe me. My heart only belongs to you. I truly thought I was the happiest woman on earth. Looking back now, I was laughably naive, my mind a mess. I sat on the couch all night. Leo's biological clock wakes him up like clockwork at 8 a.m. He stretched and yawned, just like every morning. Good morning, babe. Kiss me, he said, half asleep. I looked up at him. He didn't look much different than when he was 19, still tall, handsome, effortlessly charming. But back then, he had no money, no secret accounts, and wouldn't have fallen in love behind my back. He hadn't changed much. He still had that disciplined body, that toned chest, peeking through his wrinkled shirt I didn't help him change out of last night. He was desirable. No wonder someone fell for him. But I hadn't complimented his physique in ages. We were too familiar, almost fused into one. The autumn morning was chilly. I picked up a blanket and draped it over him. Why aren't you wearing anything warm? Think you're still a college boy? Leo noticed my eyes and instantly panicked. Why are your eyes so red? You're freezing, babe. What's wrong? Did someone upset you? I stared at him. Just like that day when I was 17 and got bullied after school. He was just as anxious then, afraid someone hurt me. I didn't understand. How could someone who's cheating still act like this? Nothing, just some insomnia. He immediately pulled me into his arms. It's okay, babe. You can tell me anything now. I'm strong enough to protect you. But the one who hurt me is you. Still, I couldn't let go. I didn't want to walk away from what we had. 14 years, from diapers to adulthood, we'd been together. This was just a bump in the road. We could get through it. I looked up at him. You'll love me forever, right? You won't leave me. Leo smiled. Silly Olivia. What's gotten into you? Tears welled up in my eyes. Ryan cheated on Alice. They're getting divorced. Would you ever leave me too? Leo cupped my face and kissed me on the forehead. Silly girl, is that why you didn't sleep all night? My poor baby. I'm not Ryan. I'll never cheat. My heart belongs to you and only you. I'll never leave. His eyes were as soft as the day we got married. I'll love Olivia forever. Never leave her, forever and ever. You said that a long time ago. Yes, he did. That year, we were only 19. Chapter 2. When I was 19, I didn't get into a prestigious university, and my father decided he wouldn't support me to study any further. He locked me in the house and told me there was no more money to waste. The only path left for me was to find a job. Then he changed his mind. He said, "You should get married. The dowry money will go toward helping your brother find a wife." I protested. I cried, screamed, even went on a hunger strike. I even tried hanging myself. None of it worked. He told me, "If you're going to die, go die in someone else's house." That night, as I lay hopelessly in bed, Leo called my name through the window. In the dark, his eyes sparkled. He asked me, "Olivia, are you hungry?" I nodded. Like magic, he pulled 2 big chicken legs out of his pocket. He said, "Eat." I knew you'd be hungry. I stuffed the chicken into my mouth. My empty stomach was full, but my heart still ached. My tears poured down like a broken dam. Leo saw me cry, and he cried too. "If only I had money. I'd marry you right now. Even if you don't, I'd still marry you." I replied, "Really? Really?" Our eyes locked in the soft moonlight. We bared our hearts to each other, full of unspoken love. That night, I made a bold decision. I ran away with Leo. Looking back, life was so hard then. We had no money. We took day jobs and slept under a bridge because at least the weather wasn't cold. But under that bridge, the mosquitoes were endless. They bit until we were covered in bumps and blood. I sobbed from the pain and the itching. Leo waved a fan all night long. He wouldn't sleep. He said, "I'm sorry, Olivia. It's my fault. I swear one day, I'll give you a good life." Eventually, we scraped together enough money to rent a tiny room. The sun beat down on the place like a sauna. Leo quietly bought a second-hand air conditioner. After installation, we had 10 yuan left. I gave him the 10 yuan and lied that my factory provided lunch. In reality, I didn't eat anything that day, but he worked construction. I was afraid he'd pass out from low blood sugar. That night, he came home with street food. I got an advance on my wages. "Don't worry, baby, eat up." I later learned the boss never gave advances. Those 200 yuan came from someone who hit Leo with an e-bike and paid him off. The spicy food made our noses and eyes run. As we wiped our tears, Leo brushed my face, tucked my sweaty hair away, and kissed my cheek. He said, "Olivia, I'll marry you one day. I'll make sure you live well." I never doubted he loved me. But why has everything changed now? Chapter 3. I went to Leo's office. He was working on some documents. On his sleek black desk sat a cup of milk tea. The straw was shaped like a cute little bunny, and a pink sticky note was stuck to the side of the cup. "Let this milk tea warm you up in the increasingly chilly weather." Before I could say anything, Leo explained first. "Nicole's always into these quirky little things." He thought for a second, then added, "Too much coffee, needed a change." I blinked. My eyes were sore with bitterness. Leo leaned over. "What's wrong? Got something in your eyes?" He hugged me and sat me down, gently pulling my eyelid up to check. "Nothing in there, but babe, your eyes are so red." I held Leo's hand, and he obediently rested his head on my shoulder. Just then, Nicole walked in. She froze when she saw us being close. Her cheerful smile vanished, and even her steps lost their bounce. She called out in a muffled voice, "Hi, Olivia Jia," then turned to Leo and said, a little coldly, "Boss." Leo ignored her. Nicole just stood there, motionless. I looked up and saw that her eyes were shimmering with moisture, as if she were the one being wronged. But shouldn't the most wronged person here be me? Leo told her to leave. "Double-check the schedule. No mistakes. You're not needed here." Nicole bit her lip and whispered, "Got it." I lay in Leo's arms, staring hard at that cup of milk tea. A lump of frustration was stuck in my throat. Too big to swallow, too stubborn to let out. Fire Nicole. Leo didn't hesitate. He just gently rubbed the corner of my eye. "Okay, Olivia, you have wrinkles now." "Yeah, I'm 33, not a young girl anymore." The first moment I saw Nicole, I knew we weren't the same type. She came from a good family, naturally cheerful and confident. I grew up poor, always living in fear. Even now that we have money, I can't help but shop only on holidays, because that's when the discounts hit. I've been afraid of poverty for so long, which is why I treasure happiness so much. Leo touched the small diamond ring on my hand. "It's tiny, just 0.12 12 carats. He bought it with all the money he had when we got married at 22. Back then, the company was just starting out, and every penny had to go into operations. That 4,000 yuan ring was saved up bit by bit. Leo once said, "Back then, you were the only one who believed in me." It's true, when the company first started, there were only two people. He was the boss, and I was the employee. I was the buyer, the accountant, the HR. When we went to negotiate deals, we faced everything together as husband and wife. We drank business partners under the table. We clutched contracts in our hands and cried and laughed in the office like maniacs. To think, so much time has already passed. We bought a house, bought a car. The company grew bigger and stronger. Those days of poverty were long gone. And yet, I never changed the ring, even though the jewelry Leo bought me since could fill a whole drawer. He once asked, "Why not wear that big diamond one?" I told him, "It's not the same." That ring was from the year Leo loved me the most. He hugged me tight, like a giant koala bear. "Wifey, let's never be apart." Chapter 4. He must have known that I had noticed something, but since he was willing to come back, I was willing to give him a chance. I don't know when, but the company informant I planted had become Leo's person, so I inserted a new one. I was becoming obsessive, paranoid even. Every nerve in my body was focused on tracking news about Nicole, afraid Leo hadn't really fired her. Because if he didn't, it meant he was willing to go against me for her. Thankfully, things seemed to be heading in the right direction. Since that day, Nicole never showed up at the company again. I finally breathed a little easier. That day, Lucas wasn't feeling well, so Leo and I took him to the hospital. Thankfully, it was nothing serious, just a mild stomach upset. Some 4 fluids and he'd be fine. While we were waiting, Leo got a call and was about to rush out. He said something had gone wrong with a project and he had to deal with it personally. My throat was burning and sore, probably a cold. But the truth is, I heard everything for the first time. I hated how sensitive my ears were. Nicole was crying on the other end. She said her stomach hurt badly. She said she missed him terribly. "Can you come keep me company? Just for a little while." I didn't mean to, but I really don't feel well. I'm sorry. I know this isn't fair to Olivia, but she already has everything. She gets to have you forever. I only want a little bit of your time. Just a little. Leo was so anxious he knocked over the trash bin as he stood up. Seriously, he's in his 30s and still acting like a hormonal teenager? When Nicole needed him for a stomachache, did Leo remember that year he was out of town and I had to call an ambulance alone for my ruptured appendix? Did he remember I had to go through surgery on my own, then crawl to the bathroom on New Year's night despite the pain? Did he remember how I cried in fear when I went into premature labor? The baby was in the wrong position, and the doctor had to physically turn him by hand. It hurt, so much more than she could ever imagine. It really hurt. I hadn't cried in so long, but my tears hit the floor one after another. Lucas reached out with his tiny hand to wipe my face. "Mama, are you sad?" His eyes were big and beautiful, just like Leo's. He pouted, about to cry himself. Did Lucas do something to make Mama sad? "Mama, don't cry. You're not pretty when you cry." I hugged him tight. "It's not Lucas's fault." "Then did Daddy upset Mama?" Lucas waved his little fist. "I'll scold Daddy." "But I really like Daddy. What should I do?" "But nobody is allowed to hurt Mama." Lucas shouted. "Daddy said so. No matter what. If someone hurts Mama, it's their fault." I froze. Lucas continued ranting. "Mama's always right. Mama doesn't need to think about anyone else. She only needs to do what makes her happy." I wiped my tears and asked softly, "When did Daddy tell you that?" "Yesterday." Lucas whispered. "Did Daddy do something really bad?" I still want Mama to forgive him, but what matters most is that Mama is happy. Where did we go wrong? We were supposed to be each other's most important person. Chapter 5. Leo didn't come home late. He lay down beside me and held me tightly. "Was work okay?" "Yeah." His voice was hoarse, like even that one word drained him completely. He was never good at lying, and I wasn't stupid either. But neither of us asked. We both tacitly agreed to pretend nothing happened, saving face for each other. Leo leaned closer. His breath was warm against my neck. We hadn't been intimate in a long time, Yet we still held each other every night. Looking back, I realize now, it had become nothing but a habit. He was getting aroused. The faint pear scent of perfume invaded my nose. That light, fresh smell made me nauseous. I preferred gardenia, but I hadn't worn perfume in ages. She said her stomach hurt. What were you thinking when you held her? Comforted her? And now with me, what are you thinking now? Is this closeness meant as compensation? I pushed Leo away and turned my back to him, sensing my rejection. He stopped. He quietly embraced me without saying a word. Do you love me? Leo replied. Yes. But I don't feel it anymore. He turned me around, and my tear-filled eyes met his. Leo pursed his lips, then asked, How long have we been together? And without waiting for my answer, he continued, We've known each other since we were kids. Started dating at 19. Got married at 22. We've been together for over 33 years now. We know each other inside and out. Love? We've already grown into one body. Even if you break our bones, they're still connected. We're inseparable. So there's no love left, right? There is. Leo's gaze was still gentle, like it always had been. Olivia, I do love you. I'll never leave you. You're the only one. You've always been the only one. No one could ever take your place. So please, be good, okay? Be good? Did he even hear himself? Don't be unreasonable. Don't turn into one of those bitter, jealous wives. Everyone has flings. You know how it is. My friends do too. And their families are still intact. My money's all with you. And I come home on time. Isn't that good enough? In that moment, I finally understood what Alice had said to me. If you still love him, then divorce him. If you don't love him anymore, then keep going. Olivia, do you know what drove me mad? No matter how much money we had, or how big the house was, it couldn't fill the emptiness in my heart. We were childhood sweethearts. We built everything together from nothing. But hearts change. Years of marriage, they mean nothing compared to a 20-something's fresh, pretty face. But I was pretty when I was 22. I realized I couldn't keep living with Leo anymore. When I didn't respond, Leo leaned in and kissed the corner of my eye. No apology, no promises, just a calm reminder to be obedient, be good. Once, years ago, when Leo was on a business trip out of town, he was mugged by local thugs and left penniless. From the police station, he called me, his lip quivering with pain. I panicked and said I'd come get him. Leo had said the same thing back then. Olivia, be good. He even laughed. Silly and lighthearted. Good thing the earrings I got for you didn't get stolen. I hid them in my shirt pocket. Smart, right? We had no wedding gifts. No gold jewelry. Leo had promised to make it up to me, one piece at a time. Now, years later, when he says be good again, what's truly in his heart? Chapter 6. I had a lawyer draft the divorce papers and went to Leo's office. His assistant told me he wasn't there. My people told me he was probably celebrating Nicole's birthday. Maybe I looked too pale, because the assistant hesitated for a moment and eventually gave me the address. Leo bought Nicole a house near Lucas's kindergarten. He could visit Nicole, then pick up Lucas on the way home. Maybe even swing by the market to grab groceries. The osmanthus lotus root I loved was also sold nearby. Leo was so thoughtful, even while cheating. He could remember my favorite foods. Men are greedy creatures. A loyal wife at home, a mistress outside, that's the dream, isn't it? I thought I'd be in tears, but when I stood there with the divorce papers in hand, I was surprisingly calm. Only my fingers trembled slightly. Through the wooden door, I could hear Nicole's sweet voice, and Leo's slow, measured replies. Thank you for spending your birthday with me. It's the least I can do. I heard the clink of glasses. Then Nicole asked timidly, Can I stay by your side forever? Baby, please? There was a loud thud, the glass hitting the table hard. Leo's tone turned cold. Olivia is my wife. That fact doesn't change, even if I'm buried 6 feet under. Nicole's voice cracked with tears. I crossed the line. I just love you too much. Leo replied, Don't do this again. But cheating is still cheating. Being calm and rational about it doesn't make it any less disgusting. The moment he stepped over that line, talking about love became a mockery, to me and to himself. I knocked. When Leo saw me, his eyes widened in shock. I shoved the divorce papers into his arms and turned to Nicole. Happy birthday. Nicole recovered quickly. Her tears started flowing like pearls from a broken necklace. Sister Olivia, it's all my fault. I seduced him. Don't blame him. Does it make a difference? I asked coldly. Nicole sniffled and pushed Leo toward me. Go on. Leo, comfort Olivia. Didn't you say she means everything to you? I don't mind. Tears streaming, lips trembling. Who wouldn't feel sorry for her? Leo kept glancing back at her. She was the kind of woman no man could resist. A hothouse flower, delicate, radiant, and youthful, just like me at 20, but not quite. I won't sign the divorce, he said. I have evidence of your affair. Leo looked shocked and hurt. Olivia, since when did you stop being obedient? Maybe in his eyes, I was still that girl trailing behind him begging for candy, still the Olivia sobbing under a mosquito-ridden bridge, still the 22-year-old who married him and couldn't even tie a tie. For so long, I'd been the soft one, the gentle one, the one who cried easily and always listened. But he forgot, Olivia was never obedient. I was the girl who dared to elope with him with nothing but hope, the girl who navigated ruthless negotiations with cunning businessmen. He just hadn't looked at me properly in years. We'll split everything 50-50, I said. We're adults. Let's leave some dignity on the table. Leo's eyes were red. He gritted his teeth. I'm not divorcing you. Nicole rubbed his arm. Don't get too upset. It's bad for your health. She was right. Leo would get dizzy when he got too angry. I knew that better than she did. Don't you care about me at all anymore? But I knew this well. When men are exposed, their worst side comes out. What did I do wrong? Leo said. Don't I provide for you? Food, clothes, shelter. What more do you want? Why can't you just turn a blind eye? Why do women always cling to this emotional crap? After all these years, the love fades. It's normal for men to have fun outside. Do you even know what level I'm operating at? All my friends do the same, and they're fine. Why can't we be fine too? He clenched his jaw. Olivia, have I treated you badly? It's because you treated me well that it hurts so much more. We're not the same anymore. I was still Olivia, but Leo was no longer the man I married at 22. I left the neighborhood in a daze. Alice was waiting for me downstairs. She'd taken half of Ryan's assets in the divorce. Her raspberry pink Maserati didn't quite match her age, but she owned it with flair. If you want to cry, just cry. We're women, it's fine to cry. She sighed. The problem is, we're too strong. We won't cry in front of the mistresses. We can lose anything, but not our pride. But men eat that up. They think their wives are too proud, too cold. They don't realize, we don't owe them anything. Those women outside, they get a crumb and act like it's gold. But us? Even if he has a single dollar, half of it should be ours. I took the tissue she handed me. You know what hurts most? He brought me my favorite dessert after cheating. He knows what I love and hate. He knows how much it would hurt me, but he did it anyway. And he even told Nicole that no one could replace me. Alice gave a tired smile. Yeah. You two still have feelings, but there's no love anymore. Loyalty is a choice. The Maserati sped down the road. My voice was scattered in the wind. So we can only get divorced. Chapter 7. Leo refused to get divorced. He tore the divorce papers into shreds and begged me to calm down. I'll give you time to cool off, he said as he moved out of the house. Maybe right now, you don't want to see me. I sent Lucas to stay with my mom and looked Leo straight in the eyes. Calm and serious. I thought he'd be more reactive. But he wasn't. His gaze held a cold, cruel sort of composure. I am calm, I told him, and divorce is the best option. Leo shook his head. I know you're angry. We can talk again later. I've already made up my mind. He cut me off before I could go further. Is this really necessary? It is. Leo grabbed his suitcase. I'll move out. And then we had the most explosive fight of our entire relationship. I screamed at him. Where are you going? Straight to that bitch's place? Leo stared at me in disbelief, like he was seeing a side of me for the first time. Olivia, you sound like a crazy woman. Once, when I used to comfort Alice, I would always tell her not to lose her temper, to keep her dignity. She'd say, At least I lose my temper behind closed doors. Strangers don't need to know. Affairs aren't just the mistress's fault, it's the men who cheat, who break their vows and chase after temptation. So they deserve to be hit. I slapped Leo across the face. Yes. I'm a crazy woman now. You made me this way. You can cheat while pretending to love me. You can bring me my favorite dessert on your way home from someone else's bed. I even thought about giving you another chance. But what did you say? You said there's no love left between us. You made me feel like a fool, a complete, pathetic fool. Tell me, Leo, if you love her, then what do the last 10 years of our life even mean? Leo took a few steps back. He opened his mouth like he wanted to say something, but nothing came out. I asked him, when did it start? January 25th. Last year, so it had already been going on that long. That night, he came home late and smelled like alcohol. He pulled a velvet box from his coat pocket and gave me a diamond bracelet. He even put it on my wrist himself. It's ridiculous. But even now, I can still remember how moved and surprised I felt. Some naive part of me still wishes he would just lie to me a little longer. He'd already been lying for so long. Why stop? This kind of confession after cheating is like peeling off the innocent party's skin layer by layer until even the bones are exposed. Raw in the air, every breath smells of blood, and your heart struggles just to keep beating. Leo, I said. This was a matter of principle. I know. He lowered his head. Finally. I saw guilt on his face. Olivia, he whispered. Give me another chance. And if I say no? He didn't panic. He just tapped the table gently with his fingers. You were everything I dreamed of when I was young. Everything I worked for was for you. I suffered so much. Even now, when I remember those days, I grit my teeth. All for one sentence. I want Olivia to live a good life. How can I just let that go? How can I bear to lose you? He was so much taller than me. When Leo pulled me into his arms, I couldn't even reach his chin. But promises only matter when love is still there. Once love is gone, they're just empty words. Even his pain becomes a debt. Like, look what I've suffered for you. So that's how cheating husbands think. And that's why he won't divorce me, not because he loves me, but because he can't let go. I was his teenage dream once. Now I'm a dull rice grain stuck to his chest. But even so, he can't give up the marriage. He doesn't have the energy to start over. He can't find another woman who'd raise his child so wholeheartedly. His social circle already knows me as his wife. Starting over would be too messy. So, let's just keep dragging this on. Eventually, when all passion is gone, we'll just keep going like partners, like familiar strangers, bound by bones and sinew, but never by love. That's how deep young love can rot. Leo held my hand. His eyes were beautiful, so full of what looked like affection. Olivia, he said, hit me if it'll make you feel better. Men really are cold. Once they stop loving you, they'll find 1,000 ways to make you compromise. Chapter 8. Leo cut off all my bank cards. He was trying to tell me, after all these years as a housewife, I'd become nothing more than a clinging vine, entirely dependent on him. I shouldn't even think about resisting. I lay quietly in bed. Leo held me tightly and kept repeating in my ear, over and over again, Olivia, be good. No matter what happens, I'll always come back to you in the end. I closed my eyes. Oddly enough, I slept better than I had in a long time. The next morning, Leo was gone. He had left me a pot of seafood porridge simmering in the clay pot and a note beside it. I know you're upset. There's 500,000 yuan on your card. Go buy something you like and cheer up. Think carefully about what I said. Isn't this the best option for both of us? Olivia, we're destined to be entangled for life. Idiot. Who the hell wants to be entangled with you for life? I wasn't about to punish my stomach for his sins. I drank the porridge and called the bank to withdraw the entire 500,000 in cash. Then I texted Leo like I was giving in. I'm not mad anymore. Leo chuckled on the other end. You had every right to be mad. It's my fault. Nicole was murmuring something next to him. He snapped at her. Then asked me, why'd you take the full 500,000 out at once? I've got my eye on a car. It's 6 million. Will my darling husband buy it for me? Hearing me playfully whine, Leo was in a great mood. He wired the remaining balance to my account on the spot. I could hear him sigh with relief. That's more like it. Olivia, I called Alice. I have 17% of the shares in Mingchen Corp. Want them? Back at home, I started madly gathering everything of value, every piece of jewelry, art, collectibles, and liquidated it all into my own accounts. I wanted a clean break, a full separation. Since Leo wouldn't sign the divorce papers, then let him go have fun outside all he wants. One day, he'll regret it. I boarded a flight to another city with Lucas. He was crying nonstop, not understanding why we were leaving, but he could still sense something was wrong. He asked, tentatively, "Mom, are we leaving Dad?" Adults can split cleanly, but for a child, a father is irreplaceable. Because of Lucas, I would never truly be free of Leo. The only thing I could do was wait for Leo to compromise. I stroked Lucas's hair and comforted him. No matter what, Daddy will always love you. We're just giving each other a little space to calm down. Lucas pouted. Are you getting divorced? He nestled into my arms and whispered, I just want Mommy to be happy. I always thought children didn't understand things, but they know. They see everything. In truth, the one Leo hurt the most was Lucas. I called Nicole. She answered nervously, calling me Olivia with a tremble in her voice. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I love Leo too much. I sighed. God, was she not tired of putting on this pathetic act? Cut the crap. I didn't call for your sob story. Why yes. I'm listening. You know I'm divorcing Leo, right? Nicole's breath caught. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't mean anything now. I just want him to sign the title of Mrs. Leo. You can have it, whether you hold on to it or not. That's up to you. There was a pause. Then Nicole said softly, okay, let the two of them tear each other apart. Meanwhile, I was going to enjoy life with Lucas. They say mistresses are obedient and sweet, but when they act out, they're 10 times harder to handle than the wife. The next day, the weather was terrible. Rain poured down in sheets. Fog rose, blurring the streets. Leo called while I was still half asleep. I blinked at the gray window, dazed, as if everything had become distant. His voice was low, laced with what sounded like tears. Rainy days must mean his old injury was acting up again. I used to prepare hot water, a towel, pain cream. I'd massage his knee, wrap it in plastic, cover it with the warm towel, and soak his calf in hot water. It was the only way he could sleep through the pain. Years ago, broke and desperate, Leo got hit by an electric bike on his way home. The guy didn't even bother calling the police, just threw 200 yuan at him and drove off. Leo used that money to buy me spicy skewers and hot pot. He didn't want me to see the injury, so he kept tugging his jeans down to cover the bruising. Not a day's rest, he was back at the construction site the next morning. The injury never fully healed. Rainy days still brought him unbearable pain. Olivia, my leg hurts. What's the point of telling me now? Leo, the moment you chose Nicole, I had no obligation to take care of you anymore. Our marriage ended the second you betrayed me. Do you understand? He paused, then gave a bitter laugh. Don't be mad, Olivia. I'm coming to find you. Chapter 9. Leo came quickly, as if he had truly realized his mistake. I refused to see him, so he stood in the rain for an entire afternoon. His injured leg trembled uncontrollably, his face pale as paper, and he called my name with a hoarse voice, Olivia. He was soaked to the bone, and his frail appearance scared Lucas into sobbing loudly. Leo had found my one soft spot. He used a pitiful, pleading tone to call for Lucas. Lucas, help me talk to Mommy. Tell her not to be mad at Daddy. Lucas ran up to me, clutching my arm and shaking it nonstop. Mommy, Daddy is sick. Let him come inside, please. Seeing Lucas cry so hard he could barely breathe, I couldn't help but soften. I grabbed an umbrella and stepped outside. Leo's face lit up with joy as he rushed toward me, but the moment he reached out to touch me, he hesitated and quickly pulled his hand back. He looked at me with those wet eyes, so tender it almost seemed genuine. He spoke in a careful, low voice, as if I held his whole world in my hands. Olivia, please forgive me. I've completely cut ties with Nicole. I sighed. Come in first. We'll talk inside. I poured Leo a cup of hot tea. He sat there awkwardly, fidgeting with his towel, barely daring to meet my eyes. After hesitating for a long while, he finally said. Olivia, what can I do to go back to the way things were? A shattered mirror can't be pieced back together. I've already decided to get a divorce. Leo suddenly lunged forward and grabbed my hand. What if I say I'm willing to sign a property agreement? My heart skipped a beat. Is that supposed to be your guarantee? Leo nodded, his smile tinged with bitterness. If you just give me one more chance, I'll do anything. When I dragged all my luggage back to that luxurious villa, Alice nearly cracked my skull open. Olivia, she scolded me with frustration. Can't you have some damn self-respect? Can't live without a man? You've got piles of cash. Are you afraid you'll starve to death? And let's be honest, you're not ugly. You think you can't find another guy? I lit a menthol cigarette after Leo cheated. I secretly picked up smoking from Alice. Whenever we chilled together, we'd light one up. Somehow, letting the bitter smoke fill our lungs made the pain a bit easier to bear. Sure, I can live without a man, but without money? I can't. Alice glanced sideways at me. Leo and I notarized our property, only the real estate. But it's still a big chunk. Tomorrow, I'm officially returning to work. You hold 17% of Morningstar's equity. You're the fourth largest shareholder, which gives you the right to vote on board members. Once I liquidate part of the assets, I'll buy out the IP rights from the minor shareholders. I'm going back into the company. I didn't come back for Leo. I came back to secure a future, for me and for Lucas. Alice went silent. After a while, she asked, when do you plan to sell the properties? I lowered my eyes. Every word cut into me like a blade. When Leo can't hold back anymore and goes crawling back to Nicole. For the past 2 months, Leo's been flawless. Our life seemed to be back on track, like Nicole never existed. But deep down, I knew this was only the still surface of the water. Beneath it, the current was churning. That night after work, Leo brought me a champagne rose. He wrapped himself around me with affection, calling me by my nickname in that warm tone of his. But I could tell, his mind was somewhere else. Leo had always been steady and composed. This kind of impatient eagerness? It wasn't like him, which could only mean one thing. He was hiding something, and he was anxious. I pressed my hand on his shoulder and smiled. I'm going to the spa with Alice. Stop messing around. Leo finally relaxed, resting his head gently on my shoulder. All right then. What time will you be back, wifey? Around 10, I replied. Don't forget to feed Lucas. Leo nodded casually. Or maybe, he'd just been waiting for the right moment. Neither of us ever imagined that two people who once trusted each other completely would one day become so full of schemes and suspicion. Sitting in Alice's car, the private investigator sent me the latest photos. Nicole stood there crying delicately, tears slipping down her face. Leo gently stroked her hair and wiped them away. There was nothing graphic, nothing scandalous, yet it still felt like a dagger to the heart. Alice said she remembered when we first met. Back then, Leo was always following behind Ryan, doing errands. Ryan was loud and brash, always speaking his mind. When he got drunk, he used to say I was stingy and had a vindictive streak, that if Leo ever betrayed me, he'd be skinned alive. Leo was so full of confidence back then, said he'd never, ever hurt you. I used to envy that. I tucked those photos away. They'd be evidence in court for the divorce. Every meal, outfit, and roof Nicole enjoyed would be counted, reclaimed. Help me contact a buyer. Alice nodded. At 10 p.m., Leo was at home behaving himself. When I walked in, he greeted me with a kiss. Seemed like they didn't have time to get intimate. I rejected his kiss. Maybe I was too cold. He froze. He looked at me with anxious eyes, like a nervous boy. What's wrong, Olivia? Nothing, I replied, watching him closely. And suddenly, I felt like giving him a chance. Maybe he really went to see Nicole just to say goodbye. Maybe there really was nothing going on between them anymore. Are you hiding something from me? Leo shook his head. No. Then, after a pause, he said quietly, I suddenly feel like you're going to leave me. He wasn't telling the truth. His heart had already tipped to the other side. I wasn't his priority anymore. This was the end of our story. The first lawsuit I filed was against Nicole, demanding that she return marital assets as a third party. That included the house, the jewelry, the car, all of it. Leo came to court that day. He sat far from me, his eyes cold and distant. "Olivia, I don't even recognize you anymore." He said I'd schemed against him, that he never imagined I could be so calculating. But what I really did was secure legal evidence of his affair. Proof for my divorce case. I've already ended things with her. What more do you want from me? I didn't know. All I knew was that every day and night we spent together from now on, his mind would always be on someone else. She was his red rose, his cinnabar mole, and I had become his plain white rice grain, his wife of hardship, the one he settled for, his compromise, his resignation. I wanted to be strong, but when I opened my mouth, I choked. I want the Leo from when we were 22, the one who only had eyes for me. Leo froze and said nothing. He still refused to sign the divorce papers. That's fine. If he won't divorce me, then we'll drag each other down together. I sold some of my real estate, bought shares from minor stakeholders, and with Alice's help, I re-entered the company. When Leo saw me there, he didn't lash out. He just looked right past me, like I didn't exist. In winter, our childhood home was scheduled for demolition. The local office required the legal owner's signature. So Leo and I returned to our hometown. The ground was icy and slippery. Leo walked behind me, instinctively reaching out to steady me. The path was muddy from the melting snow. No cars could get through. We had to walk a long stretch. When we were kids, we'd walk this road to cut grass. It never felt this long back then, because we'd always had so much to talk about. We'd bicker, laugh, make noise. It was fun. Later, when we were older and those quiet, unspoken feelings started surfacing, that same road felt so short. Too short to say everything we wanted to. We wished it would never end. But now it felt long again. Maybe it was regret. Maybe it was just too much left unsaid. Leo and I are separated now. The only thing missing is that final piece of paper. The mud had completely soiled my boots, speckling my jeans with brown stains. Leo instinctively stepped ahead of me, squatted down, and said, "Let me carry you." But he stood back up awkwardly, brushing the dust off his knees. "I forgot. You hate me now." I shook my head. "I don't hate you." "Then why did you come back to the company?" His voice was hoarse, filled with weariness. "You want to ruin me, don't you?" But I wasn't that naive girl anymore, the one who feared mud stains on her clothes. Because now, I knew nothing outside could stain me more than what I carried in my heart. "No," I said quietly. "I just took back what I deserve. The company we built from scratch, half of it rightfully belongs to me." As for Nicole, the moment she stepped into my marriage, she was destined to be shamed. It wasn't humiliation I gave her, it was the consequence of her own sins. We walked a little further, and the silhouette of the old house finally came into view. We hadn't returned to our hometown in years. It was overrun with weeds. Bricks crumbled from the walls, and the window of my old room was gone. Leo and I stood there in silence. Next year, the house would be demolished. There would be almost nothing left of the memories we once shared. He muttered softly, "I'm sorry, but I had already let go." "There's nothing to be sorry for," I replied. "Nicole's been sent back to her hometown by her parents. You no longer have any property under your name. At the company, we're equals. After the divorce, I'll take half your assets. I'm content." Leo touched the edge of the windowsill. The peeling paint flaked off into his palm, leaving a chalky residue. He called my name, but I didn't answer. I just stood there, gazing into the past, and saw a glimpse of the summer when we were 19. Leo leaning on that windowsill, whispering through the dusk, "Olivia, are you hungry?"